When I heard those words, my heart dropped. I have a new girlfriend, and I'm moving in with her. That means I'm divorcing you, and you'll need to live with your parents. I stood there, unable to process what he was saying. What do you mean? I stammered, the reality of his words crashing over me. I don't need you anymore. If you want to play housekeeper, go ahead and live with my parents, but I'm done. My name is Serafina, and I'm a 34-year-old office worker. For the most part, my life has revolved around my career. After graduating from college, I landed a job at a major company and dedicated the next 12 years to climbing the corporate ladder. I earned promotions, gained new qualifications, and now, at a relatively young age, I hold the position of department manager. I've been fortunate to have a supportive boss and a talented team beneath me, but while my professional life flourished, my personal life was a different story. I had had only one serious boyfriend during my college years, and since then, romance took a backseat to my ambitions. A close friend of mine noticed my lack of dating and decided to intervene. She hosted a dinner party where I met Colton. With his warm smile and easygoing demeanor, we clicked almost instantly. We were the same age, which led to plenty of common ground. Our conversations flowed effortlessly, and we quickly became friends, exchanging numbers and spending more time together. Eventually, Colton confessed his feelings for me, and we began dating. It wasn't long before we realized how well we complemented each other, and soon after, he proposed. I was ecstatic. Marrying the man I loved felt like a dream come true. After the engagement, we met his parents. They were kind and welcoming from the very beginning. "Serafina, it's so wonderful to meet you," his mother said warmly. "I can't believe my son brought home such a lovely woman." Though I felt a bit shy under the flurry of compliments, Colton's mom was easy to talk to, just like him. "Mom, Dad, stop it. You're embarrassing her," Colton laughed, though pride echoed in his voice. "Oh, hush, we're just being honest," his father chimed in. "It's rare to meet someone so wonderful." I felt relieved. Many of my friends had shared horror stories about disapproving in-laws, but Colton's parents were completely different. They even praised my career. "Serafina works for a big company," Colton told them, and they seemed genuinely impressed. "That's fantastic," his father exclaimed. "It's great to see a hardworking woman like you. Are you planning to keep working after the wedding?" I nodded, explaining that I had no intention of quitting my job. Their support reassured me even more. After that initial meeting, we got married, and my heart was full of excitement as we embarked on this new chapter together. Once Colton moved into my apartment, our life as newlyweds began. I felt incredibly happy and blessed to share my life with the man I loved. We settled into a comfortable routine, ready to face whatever challenges came our way. I looked forward to coming home to Colton every day after work. For 6 months, everything felt perfect. Then one evening, he approached me with a serious expression. "I need to talk to you about something," he said. "Sure, what is it?" I replied, curiosity tinged with a hint of anxiety. "I've been thinking, would you be okay with moving in with my parents?" I was taken aback. "What do you mean, living with your parents?" "Well, they're getting older, and I'm starting to worry about them. It would make me feel better if we could all live together." I understood his concern. My own parents were around the same age, but my brother and his family were already living with them, so I didn't have to worry about their care. Colton, being an only child, had a different situation. "So, you're saying we'd be living with your parents?" I asked for clarity. "Yes," he confirmed. "But I was thinking of renovating their house to turn it into a two-family home." "A two-family home," I echoed. "Yeah," he explained. "It would be much more affordable than buying a new house. We'd still have our privacy while being nearby to help them when they need it." I considered his proposal for a moment. The idea made sense. Colton's parents were kind people, and if the house could be set up to provide us with our own space, it might not be so bad. "Okay," I finally agreed. "That could work." Colton's face lit up with joy. "Thank you so much. My parents will be thrilled." Not long after, we invited his parents over to discuss our plans, and they were incredibly grateful. Their excitement about the renovations was infectious, and they couldn't stop thanking me for agreeing. I felt good about the decision. Everything seemed to be falling into place. But then, during one of our renovation discussions, Colton dropped a bombshell. "Actually, I need to ask you for a favor," he said, looking hesitant. "Sure, what is it?" "Could you pay for the renovations?" I was stunned. "What do you mean, the whole cost?" He nodded. Yes, the full amount. Why? I asked, confused. Colton looked down, clearly uncomfortable. We're in debt. Quite a bit of debt, actually. My heart sank as I processed his words. How much debt? About $300,000, he confessed. I stared at him in disbelief. I had no idea they were in such a huge financial hole. Neither Colton nor his parents had ever mentioned this before, neither while we were dating nor after we got married. I was completely taken aback by the revelation of how much money my in-laws owed. I shouted in disbelief, how did it get this bad? Stunned by the enormity of the debt, I looked at Colton, who was staring down, clearly ashamed. At first, it wasn't that much, he admitted, but it kept growing. We tried to pay it off, but it just got worse. My parents are living off their pensions and I don't make enough to help. The debt has spiraled out of control. I couldn't hide my shock. I had no idea about the financial burden my in-laws were carrying, and it left me speechless. So you're asking me to help pay off their debt? I said, still trying to process everything. They can't afford it anymore, and my salary is too low, he confessed. But don't worry, the house renovation is still a priority, and we can go ahead as planned. I stared at him in disbelief. You want me to cover the renovation and pay off your parents' debt? That's more than $250,000. My head spun from the overwhelming request. I know it's a lot to ask, Colton said, his eyes pleading. But I love you and I want to take care of you and my parents. I'm sorry for asking so much, but if you really love me, could you help? I promise I'll repay you little by little. I felt cornered and distressed. I knew my husband loved me and I wanted to support him, but this was a massive commitment. Yet blinded by my feelings and trusting his promises, I finally agreed. Okay, I'll help, I said. The part of me questioned whether this was the right decision. Colton's face lit up with relief. Thank you so much. He shook my hand enthusiastically, as if I had just saved his life. Later, he told his parents about my decision, and they came over to thank me. His mother was so emotional that she even cried tears of joy. I don't know how to thank you, she said. You've saved us from such a burden. Feeling obligated to help, I was determined to do my best. Although I had some savings, I hesitated to use all of it at once. Ultimately, I decided to put $60,000 from my savings toward their debt and arranged to pay the rest in installments. My in-laws agreed to the plan and expressed gratitude for whatever I could manage. Why don't we set it up so I can transfer the money directly to the repayment account? I suggested, concerned about the complexity of transferring large sums to my in-laws' personal account. We're not great with managing money, Colton admitted. It might be safer if you handle it directly. That made sense to me. The last thing I wanted was for the money to get lost in the process or delayed, so I agreed. With everything settled, my in-laws looked visibly relieved. Now we don't have to worry about the debt collectors knocking on our door every month, Colton's dad said with a sigh of relief. You should thank Serafina properly, Colton reminded them. We've already thanked her so much, his mother replied. We can't say it enough. We're so lucky to have her. While I was happy to see my in-laws relieved, a nagging worry lingered in the back of my mind. I couldn't shake the growing discomfort inside me. The way my in-laws praised me made me feel more like a bank than a family member. Still, I pushed those thoughts aside, convincing myself that I was helping the people I loved. With the payments underway, we began the renovations and soon our two-family home was complete. It was beautiful, spacious, and offered the privacy we needed while keeping Colton's parents close by. They were thrilled with the new house, and Colton beamed with pride. I, too, enjoyed the changes, especially the upgraded kitchen, which made cooking a breeze. Plus, living closer to work shortened my commute, giving me extra time each day. However, a nagging concern began to bother me. Despite his earlier promises, Colton didn't contribute a single cent toward paying off the debt. Whenever I brought it up, he would dodge the topic, claiming his salary wasn't enough. When I asked him to show me his pay stubs, he refused, which only heightened my suspicion. For the next year, I worked hard to pay off as much of the debt as I could, shouldering almost the entire financial burden on my own. One day, my in-laws asked how much I had left to repay. It's been a year now, right? You must have made a good dent in it, they said. Yes, I replied. I've managed to pay back about $60,000 so far, so there's roughly $180,000 left. Their eyes widened in surprise. You've paid that much already? Colton's mother asked, clearly impressed. That's incredible, Serafina. At this rate, you'll have the whole thing paid off in no time. I smiled, but a sense of unease settled over me. I was glad my hard work was paying off, but the weight of the responsibility felt heavier with each passing month. Still, seeing how happy my in-laws were gave me a sense of satisfaction. It was exhausting, but I was willing to do whatever it took to support Colton and his family. Then, one evening, something unexpected happened. I was supposed to work late that night, so I had told Colton not to wait up for me. As luck would have it, the workload was lighter than expected, and my team finished early. Happy to have some extra free time, I decided to surprise Colton by coming home earlier than planned. What I didn't anticipate was the surprise that awaited me. I had planned to treat my husband to dinner that evening, but as soon as I opened the front door, I noticed my in-laws' shoes scattered by the entrance. I paused, thinking that my mother-in-law and father-in-law must be visiting. Assuming they'd stopped by for something, I walked toward the living room. That's when I overheard them talking with Colton. "You really hit the jackpot marrying her, didn't you?" his mother said, her voice ringing out. Colton responded with a chuckle. "Yeah, I can't believe I managed to get a woman with that kind of money. When I first discovered that she worked for a major company, I knew I had to play my cards right to win her over." Colton's mother chuckled softly. "Well, you did a great job. You should be grateful, Colton." "Oh, come on, Mom. Don't act like you're innocent in all this. You contributed to some of that debt too." Colton shot back, and his father chimed in. "Don't forget your gambling habit. How much have you lost betting on horse races?" "I hit the jackpot a few times," Colton defended himself. "There were moments when we were actually in the black." His father scoffed. "How can you say that when you still owe $300,000? Laughter erupted around them, completely unfazed by the immense debt they had amassed. Colton added, "Well, we're on the road to getting rid of it now, thanks to her. We've already paid off a good chunk, plus she even remodeled our house. I really scored the perfect wife." My heart sank as I heard Colton say, "Once the debt's fully paid off, I'm going to get rid of her." The three of them burst into laughter, and I stood frozen at the door, unable to comprehend what I had just heard. The betrayal hit me like a ton of bricks. After a few moments of gathering my composure, I slammed the front door loudly and called out, "I'm home." Pretending I hadn't overheard anything, I walked into the living room, forcing a smile. My in-laws and Colton greeted me with their usual fake grins. "Oh, Serafina, welcome home. You've worked so hard today," my mother-in-law said sweetly. "We'll leave you two alone, but let's have dinner together again soon," they said, heading back to their section of the house. Their smiles now terrified me, and I struggled to hold back my disgust, especially when looking at Colton, who feigned being the perfect husband. What have I been doing? Working myself to the bone to pay off their debts while they mock me behind my back? I couldn't shake the thought. Colton looked at me and asked, "Didn't you say you'd be working late tonight?" "Yeah," I replied, but things went faster than expected, so I thought I'd come home to cook dinner on time. I replied as calmly as I could, and Colton didn't seem to suspect anything amiss. But inside, I was seething. I maintained the facade until after dinner, then retreated to my room, where I cried uncontrollably. I couldn't believe what I had heard. My heart shattered. But that sadness quickly transformed into resolve. From that night on, I moved swiftly, preparing for a divorce and making plans for my life after leaving him. I played the role of the happy wife, pretending nothing had changed while quietly setting my plans in motion. I was biding my time, waiting for the right moment to strike. 3 months later, I approached Colton with a casual demeanor and said, "Guess what? I finished paying off your parents' debt." His eyes widened in surprise. "What? You paid off the entire $300,000 already? Wasn't it supposed to take 3 years?" I explained, "I've been saving for quite a while, so I had more than enough to pay it off. I just wanted to be cautious about using all my savings at once." His eyes sparkled with excitement, though he tried to conceal it. "Wow, Serafina, thank you. My parents are going to be so thrilled." He glanced at the bank book I showed him, clearly impressed. "You really did it, $180,000 all at once." I watched as he pretended to be overcome with emotion, wiping imaginary tears from his eyes. "Thank you so much," he said, his voice trembling with false gratitude. Soon after, my in-laws came by to express their thanks. "We can't thank you enough, Serafina. You're like a blessing from above," his mother said, acting as though I had saved them from ruin. If I hadn't known the truth, I might have been moved by their words, but I was acutely aware of their true nature. and my feelings were far from kind. I was playing my part perfectly, waiting for the moment to unveil my plan. A few days later, Colton approached me with a serious expression. "Serafina, we need to talk," he said. I feigned ignorance, asking, "Sure, what's wrong?" "I have something to confess," he began, looking troubled. "I've met someone new, and I'm going to live with her. I want a divorce." I gasped in shock. "What? What are you talking about?" "I'm moving on," he said bluntly. "I don't need you anymore. You can go live with my parents if you want. You're no longer part of my life." I was stunned by how easily he discarded me, but I played along, pretending to be confused. "I don't understand," I said softly. "You just don't get it, do you?" he replied, a smirk creeping onto his face. "I'm done with you. I don't need you to be my wife anymore. But if you want to stay, you can live here as the housekeeper or pay the bills." Just then, his parents walked in, and his father grinned. "So you finally told her, huh?" Colton nodded, clearly enjoying the moment. "Yeah, I told her everything." His mother chimed in. "Well, if you're willing to do the chores, you can stay. Of course, you'll still have to pay rent." They all laughed as if my life were some kind of joke to them. But instead of crumbling, I looked at them with a cold, determined gaze. "Actually, I have other plans. I need all of you to leave," I said, my voice steady. Their laughter faded, replaced by expressions of disbelief. "What are you talking about?" they asked, bewildered. I calmly explained that I could easily afford the renovations myself and reminded them that the house was now in my name. I watched as the color drained from their faces, realizing the truth. With the title in my name, I had full control. I could decide who lived here and who didn't. My in-laws went pale as the gravity of the situation sunk in. "I'm sorry, but you won't be living here anymore," I said coldly. "Once we get divorced, you'll all be strangers to me." The reality hit them like a ton of bricks. But Colton, unwilling to back down, shot back. "But you took over our debt and paid it off. You're the one losing money here. Without debt, we could have found a new place to live." His arrogance infuriated me, but I maintained my composure. "Actually, that's not quite true," I replied, watching his confusion deepen. "What do you mean?" he asked. I explained. "I've seen the missing funds from your bank account. That was just money I moved to a separate account. The $180,000 debt is still there. The debt collectors haven't come around recently because I've been paying large chunks over time, but the remaining balance is still due." Their expressions shifted from disbelief to dread as they grasped that their plan had backfired, and now they were responsible for the remaining debt. Then I delivered the final blow. "Colton," I said, turning to my husband, "since you confessed to having an affair, I'll be filing for divorce and demanding alimony. I'll also be charging your mistress for her role in this." His face went white. "Serafina, please don't do that. She only stayed with me because I had a house and money. If I get hit with alimony, she'll leave me." I stared at him coldly. "I don't care. That's her problem now." His panic mirrored that of my in-laws as they begged me to reconsider, but I had no sympathy left. "I'm done with all of you," I stated firmly. "I've already put this house on the market, and my lawyer will be in touch about the $60,000 I paid on your behalf." They froze in place, realizing they had lost everything. I followed through with my plan, filing for divorce and demanding alimony from both my husband and his mistress. I also sought $60,000 from my in-laws to recover what I had paid for them. In the end, the house sold for around $200,000, exceeding my expectations. Located in a desirable area, it quickly attracted a family looking for a duplex. After paying off the remaining $320,000 debt and covering the $200,000 renovation, I walked away with $80,000 in profit. Additionally, I received alimony from both my ex-husband and his affair partner, putting me in a strong financial position. To top it off, I secured a small settlement of $60,000 from my in-laws, leaving them buried in debt and without a home. The tables had turned completely, and I emerged victorious. Reflecting on it all, I realized I was the true winner in this situation. After being deceived and mistreated by those I had trusted, I fought back and regained control of my life. In a way, this was justice for the damage they caused me, both emotionally and financially. They had tried to exploit me, but in the end, they lost everything. The truth is, I had been preparing for this outcome all along. Over the years, I saved money, made smart investments, and built a safety net for myself. My assets had grown significantly, and I even received a raise at work. All of this gave me the confidence to take such drastic steps, knowing I could land on my feet. Now, my former in-laws were back where they started, buried in debt and without a home. Honestly, I believe they deserved every bit of it. People willing to lie, cheat, and manipulate others for their gain should face the consequences of their actions. As for me, I've learned a lot from this experience. I'll be more careful about who I trust in the future and continue to save and invest to secure a comfortable, happy life for myself. I want to spend my years making memories with people who genuinely care about me, not with users who see me as nothing more than a source of money. What did you think of this story? Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more content like this. See you in the next video.